You talk about the 4 E's in your presentation: encounter, engage, expose, and experience. And can you share a little bit more with our listeners here about what those are? And this is a part 2 to that question. Let's say you're a church pastor of a smallish church who doesn't have a ton of time and only has a few youth who might be very marginally involved in their church. How might that pastor be creative in utilizing the 4 E's?
First of all, the 4 E's are what I would consider to be foundational principles for really engaging youth and developing youth engagement, youth ministry, etc. Because, as I shared earlier, one of the things that I think we're trying to do is put a new generation into an old generational space. As Jesus would say, you cannot use old wineskins for new wine because it would burst. And so we find ourselves reaching out to youth and bringing them in, and we're trying to put them in old spaces and old paradigms and old ideas, and it doesn't seem to last. It creates tension, and sometimes the situation even gets worse. And so what I propose in Project New Generation, that we accept these foundational principles about encountering, engaging, exposing, and experiencing youth by meeting them where they are. Meeting them where they are physically, meeting them where they are emotionally and socially and culturally, so that from that platform we began to engage them and develop ministry around them, with them taking ownership and leadership in it. And so when I talk about encountering them, we really actually encounter them. We meet them where they are. We don't expect them to be where they should be or where we want them to be, but where they are. And sometimes that may physically mean going to them instead of expecting them to come to us. Exposing is an opportunity for us to be exposed to a different way, a different understanding, and maybe even a different sense of spirituality that is different than what we're accustomed to in our spiritual formation, etc. Also, to engage them, that exposing them where they are and for who they are, and then engaging them where they are and for who they are, allowing them to be themselves, and we be us, and find ways in which we can develop relationship, trust, and etc. By respecting one another and understanding one another. And then finally, the 4th is experience. Intentionally seek to have experiences where we can grow and develop that sense of relationship. And that's allowing me to be where I am, them to be where they are, and then we begin to build those things. For instance, if you're on one side of the river and I'm on the other side of the river, there's no way to get across. We both engage and experience the building of a bridge that gets us both there. And not only do we gain as 2 individuals, but the spaces and the people and places and things connected to us gain as well. And so what I would say to a pastor who is in a small congregation, and as being a pastor myself, it can be frustrating because you also want to grow. You want people to come because you feel like you can do more of what you believe you're called to do when you got more people, more resources, etc. And you only have a handful of, instead of creating an agenda for them, let them and you be a part of each other's agenda. And from that, begin to build something. I think we generally get disappointed or frustrated because we build something and no one seems to take the bite or leap to be in it and to endure it, and etc., instead of working with you to build and create something in which we all can exist.